Woo.
Hey everybody, Jim Salmons here from the Kayak Fishing Show, live, brought to you by, oh there it is, Ballast Point. I'm wearing one of their shirts today. I've had the wonderful morning spent fixing trailer lights, which if you've ever had that joy, it's a good time. It's not hard to fix, it's to find where the problem is. The lights were fine, I had a short somewhere, so took some searching, but got that done, spent the morning messing with that. Just wanted to do a quick impromptu show, kind of remind everybody that we are going to have the guys from Cyber Fishing with us this Friday, and you'll have a chance to win one of these cool items. So please make sure you join us for that show. Also, you know, it was kind of mail day today. I got a very cool package from a friend of mine who has started a very cool business now. Pago Pago Sport Fishing in American Samoa. He's invited me to come out there, and hopefully we'll be able to get out there and do a show. But I just wanted to thank him for sending me these t-shirts. He sent me a short sleeve and a long sleeve that I will wear proudly. Very, very nice of my buddy Ricky. Like I said, Sport Fishing in Pago Pago, which I always thought was Pago Pago. So lesson learned. Pago Pago, American Samoa. They get dogtooth tuna, big GTs, all that. So seems like a really cool place to go, and I'm wishing him well. I had a bunch of the guys from the Jackson Kayak team are down at Los Buzos right now. I have seen some photos of some pretty nice fish, so I'm wishing them well as well. So really the main thing that I wanted to just touch on, and I didn't want to bring it into the show on Friday. Hey Dave, how you doing, man? Sean, how's it going? But the thing I wanted to touch on is just really quick. You guys know that I am like Mr. Safety, and I go out and we got our PLBs from ACR. I think everybody should carry one of these. It's a great little piece of insurance. But some of you guys in the kayak fishing community probably heard a gentleman was killed while kayak fishing just a couple days ago. I tried to find it. I was going to share it with you guys. There's a GoFundMe page for his family. He has a wife, like a 1-year-old child, and his wife is also pregnant, is my understanding. But I couldn't find it, so I wanted to share that with you. We wish him well, or his family, all the best. It's a terrible incident. But what happened was apparently he was hit by a boat. Fishing in the morning, he was found by some other fishermen floating away from his kayak. So I'm assuming he had a PFD on. It's skinny water there, so I couldn't even say that for sure. But the main thing was, you want to make sure that you're seen whenever you're on the water. When I take clients out, I always tell people, just because you see the boat, never assume they see you. Yes, we have the right of way, but never insist on it. Until you see a boat start turning away from you, assume that you have to take evasive action. The other thing is, and I've told this story before, my wife and I and some friends took our boat out to La Jolla one day on a very, turned out to be a very foggy morning. And because I know La Jolla, and I know there's generally a lot of kayakers out there, we were cruising around very, very, very slowly. But still, kayakers would pop out of the fog and, maybe 20 feet out in front of us. And all of a sudden they were there, wearing dark clothes in camo kayaks, no reflective materials, no PFDs, no lights. Hi, Camille. Our friend Camille Null. How are you, Camille? And Camille's in that actual area where this incident happened, I think. So maybe she has more information, but or can share the link to where this GoFundMe is for the gentleman. But anyway, as I was saying, we're out there, and it was really, I've been a kayak fisherman forever. And it was very eye-opening to me exactly how invisible we are. You know, when you're in a low kayak and you don't have lights and there's a bit of a swell or dark or fog or anything like that, we are invisible. So, you know, please take those precautions, you know, have a headlight on if there's low light conditions. And I'm not saying, you know, even when it's foggy, that headlight will still help you be seen. It may not help you see, but it'll help you be seen. You know, something like the Yak Attack Visicarbon pole with the light on it, the flag. You could put a flag at the end of a pole that's at the top of a rod, anything like that. But it's so important to take those safety precautions because, again, you know, when we are this low to the water, we are invisible. You probably heard about the other gentleman who was rescued recently, and his life was saved because he was wearing a PFD, because he was found, you know, a mile or something like that away from his kayak. Of course, having that PLB would have got him help a lot faster. It just so happened that someone on shore was able to spot him. So again, you know, these things are not expensive. You know, a VHF radio, they're not expensive when you take into consideration, you know, what your life is worth and what your life is worth to your family. We have Dave. I like the Yak Attack pole for that reason. You know what? And I love the Yak Attack Visicarbon pole. Like I said, it's got the light on it. You know, it's actually kind of funny. It's one thing, the flag flapping kind of will bother me. But what works great actually is to take the flag off. And because it is actually a pouch for carrying the Visicarbon pole, you can slide it over the pole, turn on the light, then it lights up. It's an orange light now. But it's not flapping around. It doesn't get caught in your rods or anything like that. It doesn't get pushed around by wind quite as much. So that's what I do on windy days. Hey Nick, how you doing from Florida? Dave Fowler, yeah, add a bright flag. And you know, and what you can do is you can get like a bicycle flag, and you know, if it's something that's Velcro, you can just stick it on one of the rods in a rod holder. You know, just get it up there so you're seen. Hey Jeff, how you doing? Trace Richardson was the gentleman's name. Thank you, Sean. Yeah, I mean, we don't know the full details, you know, because a boat did not stop, but there was damage to the kayak. So you know, all we can really do is assume he was hit by a boat. I mean, I've got a boat. I can't imagine hitting a kayak and not knowing it. But I've heard of things like this before where, you know, people have been on kayaks and a guy's in a boat on autopilot, and I've seen kayaks that got completely ribboned. Luckily, the guys jumped out of the way. Alex, I was guilty of this until recently. I just got a flag for my kayak, and I carry a big flashlight as well. Yeah, you know, and the headlight's the easiest thing. You just put it on your head, and then it's there. Camille, thank you so much for sending that link. I appreciate it. So any of you people who maybe can, you know, maybe donate something to this this man's family and help them out. I mean, they're one of us. They're one of the kayak fishing family. But the whole thing is, you know, we want to avoid these things. You know, hopefully it's a terrible, sad story, but hopefully we can learn something from it. Because like I said, I don't know if he was wearing a PFD or not, but, you know, if you get hit by a boat, and I've told people this a ton of times in the past, is you want to see how fast things can go wrong, look up on YouTube, kayak fisherman hit by boat. And there's a video of a guy getting hit by a boat. Nothing happened, but it just showed you how quickly things can go wrong. And that PFD could save your life if you happen to get hit in the head. Again, I don't know if this guy got hit by the prop or you know, anything like that, but at least, you know, you have a chance. Michael Guerrero, best PFD for overweight kayak anglers. You know, you just got to try them on. Ask Chad Hoover. Sorry, Chad. Yeah, but the thing is, Chad wears one every time he's out, and Chad's a big guy. So, you know, there's PFDs that fit you. Chad's with NRS, so I'm sure he wears one. I work with Kokatat. I know they have them. So you just got to go try some on and see which one that is comfortable, so you will wear it. Steve Mick, I wanted to know if you know anyone that has tried the Bixby 360. I have not. I've seen it. I honestly haven't. So it looks cool. But the motors are kind of make kayaking kind of fun. Jesus from Puerto Rico, how are you, man? Camille, try on several to find one that fits. Exactly. And Sean also says one that fits. Nick, been fishing the last couple of weeks for tarpon off the beach and twice have had some careless boaters blow through at speeds, hugging the swim buoy line. Yeah, I mean, you'll see it all the time. I mean, I saw a video somebody posted just the other day of a boat go blowing through a channel in a no wake zone, and it was a big boat, came blowing through there and just rocked every boat that was moored up against a dock, and just slammed every one of them into the dock. It was terrible, just clueless people. So again, it's you just got to take responsibility for yourself. Like I said earlier, assume that people have not seen you. And that's the biggest thing. Never assume anybody sees you unless you have made full eye contact with them and you see them start turning away. Assume you are the one that needs to take evasive action, because we may have the right of way, but it doesn't matter. You're not going to win that fight. And obviously this gentleman did not. If that is indeed what happened, it's still speculation, but it's a pretty good speculation considering the damage on his kayak that I heard about. Rodrigo from Brazil, how you doing, man? Well, that was Dustin. How are you? Sean Fender, you normally can see them coming. It's worth it to move out of the way. Better to be safe than sorry. Yeah, for sure. We now have these, I don't know if you've seen these giant jet boats that hold like 150 people. That comes hauling butt through San Diego Bay, and it's doing flat turns and spins and all that. And it scares me to death. I can just see how that guy's going to just injure somebody or something. I hate that thing's on the bay, but it's like I fish the middle of the bay all the time until about 11 o'clock in the morning, and by that time I figure by that time normally the knuckleheads are coming out. Well, some of my closest calls have been with Navy security, San Diego police, Harbor Patrol, because those guys only seem to know one speed. They haul butt everywhere. And the other ones are sailboats. Just because sailboats aren't going as fast doesn't mean they can't get you in trouble. I've seen more clueless sailboaters. They are so far back on the back of their boat that they don't necessarily see you. So, how cool. I'm just getting a message from Will Richardson. He caught his first rooster. He got a 47-inch rooster down at Los Buzos. Let me type a message to him that's awesome. Yeah, so congratulations to Will and the other guys. Hope everybody else on the trip is doing well down there. If you haven't been to Los Buzos, it is the premier, in my opinion, kind of a premier kayak fishing destination. I mean, if you want a place that is completely dialed in and geared towards kayak fishing and the chance of landing some really big fish with some great guides and great service, you can't beat it. I mean, those guys work their butts off. It's bottomless cold beer. It's some of the coldest beer you'll ever have, which of course I'm a big fan of. He says Jameson got skunked. 10 roosters landed today, wide open bite. Will's was second largest. I'm sending him, I just messaged him, sending him all your congratulations. So, but Jameson got skunked, so that's too bad. But Will doesn't get the chance to fish a lot. He's been my cameraman for the last 12 years. and so he hasn't had the opportunity to fish a ton on the while we're on shoots. And so it's very congratulations. This was a trip he went on, and he was going to get to fish. So let's get back to what we were talking about, though. Where we go, Mad Dog Fishing. I wonder how effective one of those small portable air horns are. Do you carry one? I have air horn on my boat. I don't necessarily carry one on my kayak, but I do have the whistle. The thing is, the air horn, usually because of its size, you're gonna have to dig it out. Having the whistle attached to your PFD that you can get to very quickly is just a little bit faster and easier. So that's why I tend to go with the whistle versus the air horn. The air horn is certainly a good thing to have, but just as far as quick and easy to get to, that's the way to go. Dustin Nichols, we have a lot of super fast boats on the water here. The Simmons Recon will run 90 miles per hour easily, and you really have to keep your eyes open. The airboats and the Marshall sneak up on you. Yeah, it's like I said, you just have to. Oh, Will's actually watching. Thanks for the shout out. I knew how to handle it because the years watching you smoke them. Landed on a Siegler SG. Awesome. That is so cool, dude. I am so happy for you. That is super cool. Oh, I guess his message went in there twice. But good for you, Will. I'm stoked, and I hope the rest of the trip goes well. How's Funk doing? Did he manage to get one of those fish? I hope he did, because he probably would wet his panties. Justin, I've had a couple of boaters wake me on purpose blatantly, but not too many issues. But I'll definitely have that PFD on if I'm in the water. If you've talked about it, I'm sorry, but how do you feel about auto inflate PFDs? I'm not a fan of auto inflate PFDs, quite honestly, but it's better than nothing. The biggest problem with auto inflate PFDs, I've seen them auto inflate on accident, and that's just a mechanized thing that could go wrong. Again, it's better than having nothing. But I would rather have one that's manual inflate, or like the one I have, which is a CO2 from Kokatat, which is a hybrid. So it is an inflatable, but it has inherent flotation. So if I go in the water, I'm going to float anyway. And then if I need more flotation, I can pull the cord. It is one of the more expensive PFDs out there, but to me, it is the most comfortable PFD I've ever worn. Camille says, I hope Chris Funk got a good fish. Yeah, me too. I really hope Chris got a good fish. I know he got his first yellowfin tuna yesterday, I think. So congratulations to him on that one. And that place is, like I said, there's some big fish. When I went, we had a terrible time. Honestly, the fishing was off. One big rooster got caught. We got bit off, rocked a bunch of times because the fish were so big Cubera snapper, but our baits were enormous. So you had to let them eat it. And by the time you let them eat it, they rocked you. So that was our biggest issue when I went down there, but we knew the big fish were there. And that's why the guys went back. And I know they've had a little bit of weather, I think a little bit of wind or big seas from kind of reading into what some of their posts were. But there have been some big fish. I know one of the guys on the trip, not one of the Jackson guys, but one of the other guys caught a couple of nice roosters and some really big Cubera. So you can find all Los Busos stuff on Facebook. They have a Facebook page if you're interested. Like I said, I do highly recommend it. What's this, Brian? We had a young guy, 70, lose his life last month while kayak fishing. He was prone to epileptic seizures and wasn't wearing his PFD. I don't even have a kayak yet, and the first thing I've purchased was a PFD. Yeah, why would you go out without a PFD if you're prone to epileptic seizures? Like I said, there's really never an excuse. And I didn't start this just to harp on safety. But I do bring it up a lot, obviously. But I was more just, thinking of the guy's family, and hopefully people who can contribute can go. There's the link again that Camille shared with us. There's another one here from Sean Russell. So whichever one of those, if one works and the other doesn't, check it out. But it is more just hopefully we can all learn from it. Like I said, get that flag, get that VisiCarbon pole or whatever it is, and make sure you're seen. particularly in any low light conditions or big swell. Because the amazing thing is in a big swell, you really get lost. We had a trip down in Mexico some years ago where there was a big school of tuna way offshore. So we mothershipped out there, put all the kayaks in the water, and then all these cruisers started showing up, and we're cruising and trolling through there at high speed. And it was a very, very large swell. And even with these large boats, you would get lost in the swell, in the trough of the swell. So I think we fished for about 15 minutes and I pulled everybody out of the water. It just did not feel safe to me. And as I always say, you can always fish another day. There's always another day to go fishing. So hopefully, you pick that other day when you're comfortable going out there. The conditions are right. You don't need to go into conditions that are beyond your ability, or again, where you might not be able to see storms, anything like that. Hi, Courtney. How are you in Tennessee? Isn't that Pan Am game going on in Tennessee right now? The Pan Am kayak bass fishing tournament. That looks kind of interesting. I like to not what Jesus. I know. I think that we might have an English problem. I like to not with what Ron with the kayak Kraken. I hope you're saying that you love the Kraken 15.5, because other than that, I'm not really sure what you're saying there, Jesus. Sorry, man. Hey, Andrew, how are you? And Camille, go Team USA. We got a lot of Jackson people on there. I know Eric Jackson was instrumental in putting this thing together and is captain of the team or something. And it's a very big deal. I'm not a big bass fisherman, but it sure is opening up a lot of cool opportunities in the kayak fishing world. So, you know what else I did today? Before I worked on my trailer is I set up a live bait tank on my Blue Sky. And I installed my Raymarine Element fish finder on my Blue Sky. I had an Axiom on it. I moved the Axiom to my big boat because it can be networked, and the Element is a better unit as a standalone unit, and the hypervision on that is supposed to be amazing. So really looking forward to getting it on the water. Did your friend get the roosterfish out of a Blue Sky? No, he did not get it on a Blue Sky because they don't have any Blue Skies down there. They have one Kraken. They have a bunch of I want to say they were Coosa FDs. I'm sorry, God, Coosa FDs. So they do have the pedal drives down there, and they've got some Hobies. Camille, pick of the bait tank. I will do that, Camille, as soon as I test this out. This is actually a bait tank setup. I used the Kraken crate actually, but I had to plumb it differently because the way it sits. So I haven't tested it yet. So once I test it and make sure it actually works the way I want it to work, then I will post that. You may have seen pictures I posted yesterday of the Orion cooler that I added some gear track to the back of and put 3 AR YakTak AR rod holders on that. So that's going to be on the back porch of my Blue Sky, and the bait tank will be on the front porch. So I've got appointments every day this week, stuff going on. So hopefully I can get this thing down to the water and test it out either Friday morning before we do our live show in the afternoon, or it'll have to wait until next week. But anyway, again, got the guys from Cyber Fishing will be joining us this Friday. We'll talk about this really cool tool. Like I said, this thing counts every cast you make. It geo-tracks you on Google Maps. And you hit the button and it keeps track of your fish that you've caught, and it all works via your smartphone, and then it keeps track of what the barometric pressure, all the weather conditions are when you've made that catch. But unlike other items that are kind of doing this one, again, it counts every cast you make. So rather than just showing a track where you went through an area, it counts every cast you made in that area. And then when you catch a fish, so you kind of dial it in even a little bit more So it's a very cool product. I've been using it a little bit lately, and I've really enjoyed using it. So I think you would like that, and we'll learn more about that when they come in this Friday. So anyway, again, I just wanted to check in, remind you of the show, and send out our wishes to the gentleman's family who lost his life, and also again share that link. So hopefully people can contribute to his family. Camille says you're trying to get an e-drive on the water. Yeah, I've heard the wind down in Texas has been really bad. I saw Dean Thomas was really complaining about it the other day. And that's been the story of my life here too. Every weekend or day that I have tried to get out fishing, it has been rainy and windy. It's very unusual for San Diego, but we've had just tons of rain. And then today I had a meeting early so I couldn't get on the water this morning. We have beautiful weather. And then I've just jammed with meetings and stuff all week, trying to get ready for our season and ICAST coming up and everything else. So anyway, guys, I do appreciate you joining me. I hope I will see you here on Friday. And if you are going out on the water, please remember, always wear your PFD. Make sure you're seen, and keep your paddle right side up. Take care.